computer. And slideshow. And I'm going to mute you. Is there anything else that you wanted to chat about, or are you good for right now?
I think I'm good. I have like my hands in all kinds of pots trying to figure out my thing,
Sure.
But like I did post a story the other day following the guidelines that I had been hearing, and that's when my friend started texting me and ended up signing up under the Prove It Challenge. So, I mean, it's working. It's just, you want it to be faster than it is.
Of course, absolutely. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mute you, and we'll go ahead and get started on our third week of distributor training. All right, so it is no secret that the Prove It Challenge is where it's at here at Shackley. We've had extreme, amazing success since we launched Prove It Challenge. I mean, I think like 10,500 people or something like that have purchased the Prove It Challenge, and that number continues to just ratchet up. So we're hoping to really close out the month of August super strong with this Prove It Challenge, just because this is such a timely time of year where after Labor Day, everybody's kids are back in school, vacations are about wrapped up, and people are just ready to kind of get on that road to health, get back into more of a routine, and really focus on themselves. So again, with Prove It Challenge, it's Feel Amazing in 30 days. It's the 7-day healthy cleanse. And then from days 8 to 30, it is a strip and a shake, which is Shackley's Core Nutrition. The cool part about what I like about the Prove It Challenge is the payout. For every person that you sign up on the Prove It Challenge, you get a $25 bonus. That happens the day after you sign them up. So it's an immediate payout, which is pretty fabulous. Another cool part is that when you get 3 in a month, you will actually get a double bonus. So it's the 75 will then turn into 150. So you'll get an additional $75, totaling 150. So I would love for everybody to, at first focus on either a 3 or 6. I think that's important to not leave any money on the table to be able to pull this off. And so we're going to definitely talk more about kind of incentives and the financial piece of Shackley next week and week number 4. But I did want to certainly plant the seed here where we know that on a daily basis, we can earn commissions. And then on the 100 PV, which is the point value for Prove It Challenge, we actually get paid a bonus on top of that too. This is just an upfront daily bonus that's paid when somebody signs up with the Prove It Challenge. So it's always, I feel like, whenever I have a customer interested in products, and if either of the products have to do with core nutrition, this is the route that I go. If they're a new customer, I always say, listen, this might be something that interests you. We actually have a Prove It Challenge. It's a great way to get started on core nutrition. If you're interested, I'd love for you to take a look at it. And they're like, sure, what's Prove It Challenge? And then I would send them the Prove It Challenge video. Okay, so with the Prove It Challenge, I feel like everybody that's starting their Shackley business needs to do the Prove It Challenge themselves. So that, like I said, is the 7-day cleanse and then core nutrition following. So in order to quote unquote sell the Prove It Challenge, you have had to have done it yourself. And so I think it's really important for us to know that. Because you have to have total buy-in into this process. In order to be successful in a network marketing company, you have to, number one, believe in the products, and you have to believe that they work, believe in the products, and believe in the company in which you're partnering with. So it's really important for you to go full in, experience the Facebook groups that we offer up, and just do it to your best ability. Take the photos, share your story. So what I like to talk about is, when we first get started, is to post why you decided to take the challenge in the first place. And so for those of you that have already taken the challenge, this could be something that you post about as like a throwback Thursday or throwback something like that, and kind of talk about it then. Using the Shackley I Will Feel whatever in 30 days is also pretty cool if applicable. Again, that could be another throwback as well, because obviously if you're on this call, you've probably already taken the Prove It Challenge, unless you decided to do the Prove It Challenge in the business at the same time. Taking your measurements and also before photos is also important. I know that scares people a lot, especially if you're going to be in your sports bra and shorts or something like that for us ladies. But it is important, and it doesn't mean that you have to use the photo. You can certainly just stash it away, because chances are in 3 months from now, when you're transforming and you take a look at that picture that you took, you're gonna be like, dang, I feel good, I look stronger, and this is worthy to share and to empower people. And I'm not a huge like body image person per se. I do think it's important. Some people need to see it. I think some people need to see that type of transformation before they're going to pull the trigger. And other people are just going to take your word for it. And they're going to feel your energy and your vibes. My friend Brooke Trogdon, who's actually not a Shackley customer, but she actually sells a fitness brand called Zaya. She is going through a huge weight loss journey, and she decided to add weights, and she hired a nutrition coach, and she does a little bit of intermittent fasting. And she has completely transformed her body. Her weight has actually not changed much, but her physique is phenomenally amazing, like the way she has. And she is a true plus size. Like she was probably a size 20 or something like that. But her pictures, she's just very authentic, and people love her for that. And she's so classy, but yet you have to be able to, some people have to really see it to believe it. So anyway, love her stuff. So I feel like the before photos are really important. And then also taking photos of as you're planning for your 7-day cleanse, or for those of us that are planners for the week, like we meal plan, we prep our snacks, like all of this stuff is worthy of photographing and sharing on social media. It's amazing what people will look at and appreciate for you sharing. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, what's that vegetable over there? Or I didn't know that, such and such came in, I don't know, full fat, or whatever the case may be. But I feel like it's really cool, and people are always wondering where you're buying stuff, who has the best produce, do you buy organic or not organic, and that type of stuff. So I do think it's an important part. And then taking photos of your grocery haul. I think people love, this is a great way to go live on social media, whether you're doing it before your cleanse. Maybe you went to Trader Joe's or Aldi or something like that, and you had just a great grocery haul, and you have some great meals planned and some snacks. And this could be a great opportunity to go live on social media as well. People love to see what you buy, and they love to see what you're going to use it for. So this is a great opportunity to go live as well. It's one of those, like, if you're nervous about social and going live on social media, it's actually a really easy one to do, because you're literally just picking something up and talking about it. You're not having to come up with all this like content, if that makes sense. And then, like I said, do a live video about what you bought and what you plan to do with it. Begin documenting your meals and snacks. If they're kind of cool and it's a new recipe that you're trying, maybe it's because you've been pushed out of your comfort zone, or you learned to like eggplant on the 7-day healthy cleanse, or cauliflower is now your best friend. Like, these are all things that are worthy. If they've been an aha moment for you, they're probably going to be an aha moment for somebody else. So I think it's important to also document that as well. For those of us that work, like, what do you pack for your day? I think so many people just like go through the drive-through, they grab their Egg McMuffin and their coffee, they go to work, and they maybe have some almond stash in their desk, and then they go to the cafeteria at lunch or out for lunch, where if they had planned a little bit more, had some insight into planning what their lunches could look like, or if you plan ahead where you make a little bit more for your meals to have proper leftovers for lunches. Like, I just think people they need a lot of hand holding today. And for those of us that are health warriors, that are health enthusiasts, like, I feel like that is our job, is to inspire them to take one new step in the right direction to better health by preparing their own food, avoiding fast food and that type of thing. And then sharing results, I think, after your cleanse, and then also after your 30 days is important as well. But then also showing that it's an ongoing prove it challenge. Shackley is still proving it 65 years after starting, that their members and customers are, still improving their health markers, that their distributors are still earning a fabulous income and have an amazing lifestyle. So I think that's really important. It's just being authentic and being you is the name of the game when it comes to social media. So what not to do and do. And I know a lot of us probably have experienced this before, where we've been a part of a mass email from somebody that started a new business, and we're just one of like, 1,000 people, and we get this mass email about their new venture, right? And you're like, delete. Or someone that sends generic mass messages on Facebook, like you can tell, hey girl, and it's like this, I'm so excited I started this new hair care business. My hair's never looked more amazing, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if you want some samples. Like, again, delete. Like, or me now being more of a professional network marketer, I literally will write back and be like, listen, this probably isn't the best tactic. And I kind of like coach them. Now I have, credentials to do that because I've been doing this for a while and I've been successful at it. But it's really not the way to, because people remember that, that's how you were approached, as a mass message. So we don't want to do that either. But personal touches are great. So just one-on-one conversations, texting somebody, using Facebook Messenger, Instagram, after you know that they've acknowledged let's say this is obviously on social, or you've had a conversation, say at church or at work, and you want to reach out to them, acknowledging, if they've acknowledged you, acknowledge what you're doing via a post or a conversation, and in your post, they've either liked it or they've commented on it. That's a way for you to just say, hey, listen, did you want to join me in this Prove It Challenge? And we can literally say this. Do you want to join me in this Prove It Challenge? 365 days a year. Because we are all essentially doing the Prove It Challenge, because we've already done the cleanse and now we're stripping and shaking every day, right? So we are still on the Prove It Challenge. Even 3 years later, we're still on the Prove It Challenge. So I feel like everything that I do is Prove It Challenge worthy, which is the beauty of this. So it's not just an isolated event. So I want you guys to really think about that when you're thinking about your messaging and all that. So, and then they'll say, what's the Prove It Challenge? Or they'll say, sure, tell me more. And that's when you say, well, if I send you a 60-second video, will you watch it? And they'll say, of course. And so you'll send that video over. And I think using as many tools as possible without having to reinvent the wheel and type all this stuff out really shows potential distributors how easy it is to share Shackley and to share the Prove It Challenge. If you're coming up and you're typing up all of this science and all of this detail, and you're creating your own graphics and you're doing all this, people are like, dang, I don't have time for that. So I encourage you to use the tools that Shackley has for you. All right, so then another thing is when people are viewing your stories on Instagram and Facebook, engage with them. Don't say, hey, do you want to join my Prove It Challenge? But just say, hey, Sally, like, how are you? Are you enjoying your Orange Theory workouts? Or tell me more about those tennis shoes you just bought. Or how did you make that lasagna? Or, whatever. And, if you like something that they put on their stories, if you notice people are watching your stories on a consistent basis, make note of who those people are and go back out and engage with them. Go watch their stories and engage with them, and just do a quick message, like give them love on their stories, comment on one of their polls, and just kind of have that, start that engagement. And that's going to really help you develop that relationship and that foundation for the ask if you feel it is pertinent. And then like we had talked about, it takes time. It takes time to develop relationships and to make the connections and to really build your trust with one another. All right, so using tools and screenshots, hashtag Prove It Challenge. I've been using that in almost all my posts. So when you're sharing Shackley and the Prove It Challenge, really using your own life, I think, is so essential. Whether that's through, talking about what you've done for fitness, for food, personal development, relationships, what your team is like. I think the best way to become an influencer and successful in this business is to attract, you want to attract both members and distributors. So that's where talking about team comes into play, talking about even screenshotting when you're proud of one of your team members who've earned a trip or their car payment, like taking a picture like, oh my gosh, I love that my teammate Laura just earned her first car payment. How cool is that? And then it's like, you could ask a question, what's your favorite car? What would you like if somebody paid for your car payment? Just fun stuff like that, like engaging. Using the tools section in our back office is amazing for the Prove It Challenge in particular, and a lot of different things, but there's so many graphics and videos and animations. I just I welcome you to use those. Save them on your phone, save them on your desktop, but know that I don't want you to use too much Shackley branding. When people just see a lot of branded products, they're like, oh, she's just going to pitch me. But if there's more lifestyle and maybe a product here and there, I think that's key. And make sure that those graphics resonate with you. You're not just using them just because they're there, but do they really resonate with you? Because chances are, if they resonate with you, they're going to resonate with people that you are attracting and that people that you're talking to. And then, really use the Shackley official Facebook cleanse group and also the Prove It Facebook group. Those two groups in particular, I think, have really awesome content as far as testimonials are concerned, and also recipes. So a lot of times I'll spend a few minutes in each of those and I'll screenshot some really awesome testimonials. I'll screenshot some recipes that were a super success, and I'll just share those on my stories. I'll just share them in there and just say, oh my gosh, so-and-so's killing it on the cleanse. Love to see this progress, cheering on my fellow cleanser, Prove It challenger, or whatever. Excuse me. I think that's really, really cool and fun. People love testimonials. Love, love, love. So keep that in mind too when thinking about sharing. You don't have to come up with all the content yourself. It doesn't have to always be just about you, but what resonates with you will more than likely resonate with somebody that you're trying to attract. Okay, so one of the things is, oh my gosh, how do you keep up with all of these images and screenshots? And that would be where you would then save them in some sort of folder on your computer or in your phone, like it's your Prove It folder. I think that would be ideal. If Dropbox works for you, that's great. And then, same thing with screenshots. Before you forget, make sure that you're putting those screenshots in the proper folder, and know that you don't have to use those immediately. They're just in your arsenal, right? So if you spend time, that's where I feel like we have to kind of doing a better job at blocking our time in tasks instead of doing a million things all at once. We're like, okay, today I'm just going to really go in and look at these two Facebook groups, go into my back end and really look at what's out there as far as content that I can share, and just go and just hunt for content, which is, testimonials, great recipes that were posted in the cleanse. People also want to see great support, people cheering people on. Those posts that have 200 some odd comments and 300 likes, people are like, dang, that group's amazing. They're super supportive and social in there. That sounds really, really good. So, really hunting for content, I think, is really cool. Because if you don't have your own people testimonials, that's when you can go out and grab others' testimonials as well. And so I feel like that would be a great project to put together and to grab content for that. So, okay, so we go and we hunt all this content, right? We have some of our own content that we've gathered. So how do we stay organized and share it consistently? And that would be where we really should be using a social media plan. So this is just an example of what I actually took from the Chic influencer community, which is a community that I pay to be a part of. And that is Melanie Mitro's group and Katie Ersta. And they have created this image, and basically what it does is it gives you, and you can do this all on your own, there's plenty of calendar apps online, but I can post this in our group, where you would then just say on Sunday, you would sit down, you'd say, okay, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do that, Wednesday I'm going to do that, Thursday I'm taking off, blah, 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 Friday I'm going to do that, Saturday I'm not going to do anything, Sunday I'm going to do that. And you kind of create this this rhythm. And I think it's really helpful. So you write it out and then you have it in front of you and you're like, oh my gosh, that's right. So instead of being panicked and say, oh my gosh, what am I going to write about today? You're like, oh, it's Tuesday, it's testimonial day. You know what? One of those screenshots that I just did, I'm going to write about that. And that's what you would do. So a lot of times it's kind of cool to maybe work in themes, especially when we first get started. I know it was really helpful for Nikki Lacey when she first started Shackley. She was scared to death about social media, especially going live. So she decided to do a Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday, and she did it for, I think, 9 months. And she really created a lot of momentum in her business by doing, and people will look forward to it. And then she took a couple weeks off because she had I think, back-to-back vacations or something with kids. And people are like, oh, I haven't seen you on your Wellness Wednesday. She's like, wait, you watched that? You know what I mean? So it's like really cool when you kind of have, again, consistency. People want to see consistency, even if it is, every other day, or you show up strong on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or whatever the case may be. Like, what does your consistency look like? Write it out and commit to it. So some themes that could work well, like Monday motivation, maybe it's just a quote, right? Or a picture of you like fist bumping or something like that. And then Tuesday could be like tip of the day. It could also be like testimonial Tuesday. Wellness Wednesday is great. Throwback Thursday, Friday feels, Saturday spotlight. You could spotlight, I don't know, maybe a current member. Maybe you could spotlight one of your team members. Maybe you could spotlight a product. That might be something fun on a Saturday spotlight, like your favorite product. But then when you spotlight, you have to do some education too. It can't just be, here's a product, right? So you want to also do some education behind it and play to people's pain. So let's say it's like our hydrate product that you love. It's like, do you feel like X, Y, or Z after you work out or towards the end of your week? Chances are you could have electrolyte depletion. And it's just a little Google search online and then you would write about it. So I think those Saturday spotlights are a lot of fun. Another one that I think I'm thinking about doing is I have certain women in my life who are not, some are Shaklee users, some are not, but I work out with them early in the morning, and they're all from varying ages, but they all have professional careers, but yet they have kids that are young, kids that are, she's an empty nester, there's a whole slew. But they still make it a point to get to the gym for a 5:30 a.m. workout every single morning. And so I wanted to spotlight them on Saturdays, these women, and talk about how I've been so impressed to work alongside them, work out alongside them. And I love that they have committed to their wellness, and from it, they're a better mom, a better professional, a better wife. So that would be my Saturday spotlight. So everybody's just a little bit different, but I think that some sort of theming like this is helpful for people who are getting into social media and wanting to do it consistently. And I think it's just a great way to get yourself organized. So social media 101. So stories honestly are where it's at. And people are like, oh my God, stories, like seriously? But I think more and more people are loving the stories because they're real life and they're not perfect and they're messy. And so this is a story I actually did this morning. Here, the protein mug cake, my first attempt in a while. I even have a chipped mug I used, and it looks messy and it's fine. My dog Sam got in the picture, and it wasn't intentional. He just got in there. And so you can see I only posted 3 hours ago, and already I had 49 people look at it. And by tomorrow, there'll probably be about 180 people that have looked at the story. And then I can kind of see the transgression into kind of what, like, will they stay on my stories or will they peter off and not be interested? Will I lose their interest? And so I love to do polls. And you'll notice today I did, do you have a good recipe that includes protein? So some said yes, some said no. So the people that say yes, I'm going to say, awesome. What's your recipe? I'm going to start engaging with them. Okay. People that say no, I'll say, okay, I didn't either, but this is one that I found to work well, or this is the one that I used in this picture. And I, can send them a Pinterest link or whatever. And you start the conversation that way. So it's really pretty cool. And interesting how you can engage. And I think polls people love to click yes or no. They love that. So I feel like anytime I have an opportunity, I feel like I do a poll every day so that I have an opportunity to see, number one, who's answering them, and number two, how to re-engage with them or to engage with them. And I've had some great success with that. So, so stories are cool because this is where you see all the people who never comment on your posts follow you. Okay. There are people that follow me every single day, but they never like a single post on my social media feed or my Instagram feed. It's crazy. So I feel like this is, and the people that follow your stories are people that typically want to like be in your life. Like, it sounds kind of crazy, but it's completely 100% true. So these are your future customers and team members. It may be years from now, but chances are they still want to be it because they're following you and what you do. So my suggestion, because sometimes I had a conversation with one of my teammates and she's like, I just feel like I'm constantly taking pictures and then I'm constantly wanting to sit down and post a story. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give you some advice. And this is what I had to start to do is I would document my day with my phone. You know, you have it by you anyway, right? Sometimes it's not, I would run and go get it and whatever, but I'm documenting with my phone. And when I see an opportunity to teach somebody something, show them a product I like, be inspirational, if it's a funny moment. And then what I'll do is for me now, what I do is once I drop my kids off at the bus, I then literally do all my stories from 7:30 a.m. until 8 a.m. Then I stop and I go get my shower, do my devotionals, all that, because will have worked out prior to the whole bus stop thing. Then I don't really get on social media for a while and then I actually write. I have social media time carved out in my blocked out schedule, and I'll actually write it in Microsoft Word because I know what I'm going to be talking about in terms of my content, so that I'm not inside social media because it's very distracting with notifications. And then I post later and I get back out. So my motto is to be a content creator, not a content consumer. So that kind of sounds kind of selfish, but I am definitely squirrel material and I will go down that rabbit hole fast if I allow myself to stay on social media. So I really try to be a content creator, not a content consumer. So that's my advice as well. So sitting down 1, maybe 2 times a day to do stories is good. I do it once a day. I know Kristen Cunningham with Shackley would say to do it multiple times a day. I can't. It's too much of a distractor for me. And I feel like I have plenty of good momentum with it the way I'm doing it. So I'm sticking to it. Okay. And then make sure that you're always doing your stories inside Instagram, and then it's flowing to your Facebook stories. I think that's an important flow as well, so that you don't have to, do anything else on Facebook. So you want to be tagging on Instagram to build your viewer base and your follower base on Instagram. So, all right, so that's that. And then, when you're doing social media, always think about, can I use this as an opportunity to educate? And I feel like, I know that I never wanted to be a teacher, but I did feel like I always I love to educate. And I think it's important to always, it's not just here's my smoothie, it's here's my smoothie with this recipe. It's here's this meal, and then you can hashtag Whole Foods, full fat, like whatever the case may be. How can you bring value to what you share? So when you think about what you're sharing, is it valuable? Will it give somebody a laugh? Will it give somebody an aha moment? Will they stop and smile? Will they say, I'm going to go to the store and buy that? Will it bring value to what you are sharing? And then, is it inspirational? That's another thing. And I always talk about going beyond the Shackley products. It's really important for people to get to know who you are and why you're doing what you're doing, not what you're doing. They want to know why you're doing it. Why is Shackley become part of your daily arsenal? And they're going to see your energy level. They're going to see your excitement. And that's what's important. And also talking about your tribe too. And I know some of us are not close to each other as far as a team is concerned. So maybe it's, taking a picture of us right now on this distributor training call where you'd snap a shot and just say, oh my gosh, love my training. Great takeaways today. My leader, Cindy, is a rock star. Just kidding. But anyway, like that kind of stuff is super cool. And they're like, oh, wow, she gets training, like one-on-one training. Like that's so cool. Love that. Or small group training or whatever the case may be. People are like, maybe maybe this would be for me. I don't know. Or you're like lunch hour training on my side hustle or whatever that is. Okay. So, those are the types of things that people want to see you doing, and that they're like, they could see themselves doing what you're doing, whether it's taking Shackley supplements or sharing this as an opportunity to build a business. And then, talking about your tribe is so important too. And I loved how you had the picture of us three, Sandy, and you talked about it. That was super, super cool. So love that. Okay, so these are the social media no-nos. If you want to build your business on social media, you cannot talk about politics. You cannot condemn other points of view, whether it's religion or politics, right? You cannot, I suggest not sharing negative news stories. All of that just brings your high vibe of what you're trying to do just down. And, there's a lot of animal lovers out there, and some folks will like post about like all these abused animals. And like, I get that, I get it. But the thing is that if you want to build your business on social, if you're constantly posting that kind of stuff, people are just going to be completely uninterested because they're looking to you to be an influencer to help them live a healthier, better life. But they don't want to be told, who to vote for, how to worship God, or about abused pets. You know what I mean? So, but now granted, if there's a child that's missing in your community and you're going to share a post about something like that, that's super relevant. But if it's a consistent habit of just sharing stories, I'm sure you get my point. So instead, be the light, be positive, and be an influencer. That would be my suggestion. Now, if social media is not your jam and that's not how you plan to build your network marketing business, and you can post whatever you want all day long. All right, so here are some additional ways above and beyond social media to, launch your business as well. So there's just some thoughts. So you could do a prove it challenge, sip and sample. So this would look like you'd have your prove it challenge box out. This would be an in-home event. You would have smoothie samples there. Maybe you would maybe make your favorite chocolate recipe and your favorite vanilla recipe, your favorite strawberry recipe, whatever that is. And then you would maybe prepare like 2 or 3 of your favorite cleanse dishes. And people could come and sample what a cleanse tastes like, so to speak, what the core nutrition in our protein shake tastes like. That's kind of a fun way to be able to introduce the Prove It Challenge and have like a sip and sample like in your home. Another thing would be a Prove It Challenge smoothie party. So this would be where you'd actually facilitate a party in which people make smoothies in the smoothie bags with the protein powder, the whole frozen vegetables, chia seed, whatever, spinach, and these baggies, they seal them up, they put them in their freezer, they pull them out the next time they want to have a shake, dump it into their blender, add water, zip, go, and they have a smoothie. So that would be another one. There is cost involved up front where you're going to have to, now you collect from them. Typically we charge $50 for 14 smoothies. So that's 14 meals, like full meals with added greens, added fruits, added fats, added fiber with the chia. And then they leave with 2 weeks worth of meals, okay, which is amazing. And there, I know Laura has done a great job of having these smoothie parties and then talking about the Prove It Challenge and basically giving them their smoothies for half price. So she'll give them half their money back if they buy a Prove It Challenge, something of that nature. It could be an incentive that way. We could kind of get into that later, but that's another really fun way to introduce what you're doing kind of in a face-to-face. And that's really how Team Green Sisters got their start and how we became so successful, was having smoothie parties. That was our duplication process. We had smoothie party after smoothie party after smoothie party, which were great. But now with my boys, as active as they are every night of the week, I'm basically tied up with practices. I am unable to pull those off as easily as I did when they were little, when they weren't doing, the after school and evening activities as much. So everybody's seasons change, and that's okay. And I feel like this is just a great option as well. And then just an online launch event is great. So for those of you that maybe aren't comfortable having something in your home, it would be an online launch event, and we have different launch party, so to speak, online. We can talk about Shackley as a company, some of the product lines, do some giveaways, stuff like that. Dana Deegan actually has done a great job doing these launch events online for those people that don't want to go in home, or they feel like they have more friends and family like away from where they live. So that's another fun one. So talk to your upline about that and what they can do for you, what you guys think might work, or none of the above, and you just stick with social media. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. So you would have to just chat with them. Okay, so that is the end of our 3rd week training. So social media, how to launch your business, a little bit about how to earn, which basically we all pretty much know, how to earn with the Prove It Challenge. So the homework for this 3rd week would be, number 1 is just for this month, how many more Prove It challenges would you like to get before the end of the month to double your bonus? Okay, that would be one question, or one piece of homework. Visit the tools section in the back office and save images. This would be that like blocking, like work blocking, where you could just take time to do that. And then visit the Shackley Healthy Cleanse Facebook group and screenshot 4 images or more. Visit the Prove It Challenge Facebook group that Shackley's put on and screenshot 4 or more images there. And then really, figure out where you want to save those and kind of use for your arsenal later. And then posting 5 to 6 stories, maybe 6 days a week, maybe it's 5 days a week, whatever, where you're just going to commit to just kind of photographing your day and then sharing about it. I think people really love that, especially when there's some humor in there, when there's some opportunities to educate. It's all really helpful. And then creating a social media calendar. When I gave you those tips to like the Motivation Monday, the Testimonial Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday, like what resonated with you, and what would your social media calendar look like if you were to kind of theme it up and kind of get some content that way? And then try posting, given what you thought would be cool on your calendar, try posting. What does that look like for a week? And just see what kind of feedback that you get from people. Which of those different themed posts actually pulled some interest and attention would be helpful. And then decide with your upline if a launch event makes sense, or if you just sticking with your social media is the name of the game. So those would be your different things for your homework for your 3rd training. So let me go ahead and stop the recording.